Hello again, everyone. Today, there has been a truly noteworthy development on the SUI side. Paga, one of Africa's largest fintech companies, has officially announced that it has partnered with the SUI blockchain. And this is not just an ordinary collaboration, because this development directly involves real world finance. Now, let's talk a bit about what Paga is. This company is a giant fintech firm operating in payment systems across Africa. To date, the company has processed approximately $42 billion in transaction volume. In 2025 alone, they handled $11 billion in transactions and have a history of hundreds of millions of transactions. So we're not talking about a small startup, but a massive financial company with a substantial user base. And now, together with SUI, this company will implement stablecoin systems, tokenized assets, which are real world assets, cross border payment systems, and blockchain based financial infrastructures. In my opinion, the most striking aspect here is the tokenized real estate and tokenized bond part, because now the blockchain space is no longer just about meme coins. They're talking about directly moving real estate, bonds, and even solar energy projects onto the blockchain. So, in the future, people might be able to invest in a small share of a real estate project right from their phones. This actually shows that the RWA or real world asset narrative continues to grow. Another important detail is USD SUI. It is planned that SUI will create high yield dollar accounts on its own stablecoin system, USD SUI. People will be able to move out of their local currency and save in dollars directly on the blockchain. This could create an incredibly large area of use, especially in regions like Africa where inflation and currency volatility are high. The statement from the CEO of Paga was also quite striking. He says that financial freedom in Africa is still not fully achieved and states that they will work together with SUI to solve this. I think the reason the market reacted positively to this news lies here, because now people want to see not just hype but real use cases. And recently, the suicide has started to push very aggressively, especially for real world integrations. Also, according to the news, staking rates on the SUI side have risen significantly. Since a large portion of the circulating supply is staked, liquidity in the market is decreasing. This can create a supply shock on the price side. So, as demand increases, the amount of coins available for sale decreases. That's why the recent volatility in SUI's price has started to attract attention. Currently, SUI is trading at around $1.32, friends. And frankly, with the latest news flow, significant momentum has started to build in the market. Especially after the Paga partnership, we can say that investors' perspectives have started to change because now it's not just a layer one story anymore, it's turning into a blockchain narrative that enters real world finance. When we look at the technical side, breaking through the $1 zone strongly was quite important for SUI because for a long time the market had been following this level as a psychological resistance. Now the price is trying to be held above $1.30. There's also a noticeable increase in volume, especially the high staking rates are reducing the circulating supply in the market. This can cause price movements to become more aggressive when demand comes in. In other words, as the amount of coins available for sale in the market decreases and new investor interest increases, the price can move upward more quickly. In my opinion, the most critical zone right now is the 1.30 to $1.35 range. If SUI continues to make strong closes above this zone, it will be possible to start talking about the $1.50 levels as the next target in the market. Especially as long as Bitcoin remains strong, money continues to flow into layer 1 coins, and SUI seems to be one of the strongest projects of this narrative recently. Of course, volatility is still very high in the short term, because since the recent rise happened quite quickly, it would be normal to see some interim corrections. Especially short-term pullbacks below $1.25 would not surprise the market. But overall, the structure still appears bullish for now. On the fundamental side, real-world asset tokenization, stablecoin systems, institutional partnerships, fast blockchain infrastructure, and low transaction fees are among SUI's strongest narratives. Especially if developments in African payment systems and tokenized finance grow, SUI could attract much more institutional interest in the long term. That's why it seems like the market is currently trying to price not just the value, but also the growth potential of the ecosystem. But as I always say, guys, it's risky to FOMO during hype periods in this market. So everyone should manage their own risk well. This video is definitely not investment advice. It's essential that you prioritize your own opinions, friends. Take care of yourselves. That's all for today's analysis. See you next time.